Let me take you back, dear viewers, to a long lost time. A time known as the 90s. Specifically, the late 90s. This is a time when WWF was great, and referred to wrestling, not wildlife. Where men were men, and women were beautiful. These were my salad days, and they have long since been eaten away, unfortunately. At this time, some of my favourite games ever were made by this awesome studio. A studio that back then didn't seem to know how to fail. Of course, this was BioWare. The first game of theirs that I played was the original Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. They were basic on the graphics side, but god they were deep on the content and gameplay. The word classic is overused these days, but these were classic games. Shortly after this, in early 2003, they made probably the greatest RPG ever made. Star Wars: The Knights of the Old Republic. This game was absolutely phenomenal. It pushed the boundaries of RPGs, and man, if you've never played this game, you are missing out. It's a revelation. They took things to a level no other RPG had before. The light side and dark side narrative options were a personal highlight, along with probably the best story arc in any game in history. Anyway, as if that wasn't enough, they then went out and made another arguably greatest RPG ever, with Mass Effect. And in between Mass Effect 1 and 2, they made Dragon Age Origins. Damn, these guys were something special, and I cannot understate how much better gaming was back then. We had a wealth of better and better RPGs, with BioWare and Bethesda leading the charge. Alas, it did not last. This is unfortunately where the gaming Satan worshippers, aka EA, came in, and made an offer to the owners of BioWare that they couldn't refuse. Consequently, they sold out to the devil, and, well, almost immediately, you can see the quality of the end product start to fall. Mass Effect 2 improved the game's shooting mechanics, no end, but totally butchered the items and leveling up systems so badly you can make a case that Mass Effect 2 is more of a third-person shooter than an RPG. Dragon Age 2, this game was such a departure from the original. It was hugely controversial and, more importantly, shite. So, there you go. Clearly some of the magic was still there and they managed to pull it back with Mass Effect 3, though even then they did it with a very disappointing and poorly executed ending to the series, which was later improved with some new okay-ish ending scenes and the Citadel DLC, which if I'm honest was absolutely fantastic. Dragon Age Inquisition was a similar story, so both of these games were good, but not as universally satisfying as previous titles, and both having obvious flaws. Roll the clock forward a bit more, and in 2017 we get Mass Effect Andromeda. A game I remember playing and having this weird feeling that something was missing during the entirety of the prologue. I then realised the squad control was totally gone, and the classes were replaced with some weird AI thing. The whole point of Mass Effect combat was building and controlling a squad with complementary abilities, so you could chain combos and strip shields and armour.
Disappointed!
I stopped there, traded in my copy, and sold the remote control car thing that came with the collector's edition. This marked the first real wallet burn from a BioWare purchase. It was annoying, but I still had faith. This was BioWare after all, the masters of RPGs. They deserved my loyalty. Oh boy, was I in trouble. We then reach my personal pièce de résistance. Hold on, let me put the rose-tinted glasses back on for a moment, as I had these firmly fastened to my face for the release of the steaming turd that was Anthem in 2019. God, I went to bat so hard for this game and was so unbelievably disappointed. I ignored all the warning signs. I gaslit my friends and tried to get all of them to buy the game to play with me. And 3 months, probably 50 to 100 hours later, the lenses cracked and shattered. Anthem sucked. Hard.
Fuck.
And with that realisation, I reluctantly put BioWare into the never ever ever pre-order their games again category. It was sad to see, but not surprising. The people who made the company great were long gone, and after all the crazy stories about Anthem's completely botched development came out, I also reluctantly consigned BioWare to the pile of once great game developers murdered by the arch traitors, EA. EA Sports. We kill good games. Mass Effect was done. KOTOR was long gone. What was left to ruin? Oh yeah, Dragon Age. We're all on current day, and in 2024, we get Dragon Age the Veilguard.
Oh boy.
It seems that before BioWare are permanently put out to pasture, they must complete full IP self-destruction. Firstly, let's look at the visuals in the release trailer, which got ratioed into oblivion, by the way. This just doesn't look like the gritty realism we got from previous titles, where the visuals were more in line with things like Baldur's Gate and The Witcher. Now we get cartoony caricatures of this? Like, is it just me or is this giving off serious Fortnite vibes? Even the tone seems way off base. Gone is the grimdark struggle against evil and darkness, in is the MCU humour, and it's worse than was first thought, as the game's been given a massive dose of modern day politics on steroids. Here's what I mean.
And then this is the one that blew my mind. Top surgery scars are also included in this for all of our trans and non-binary rooks out there. I absolutely was blown away by this. It's beautiful to see the inclusion in the game, and to see yourself represented in the game in this way is wonderful. So if you want your rook to sport the top surgery scars, you absolutely can.
Yowza. Sorry, Jesus H. Christ. What does any of that have to do with Dragon Age? Tell me about the Darkspawn, the Blight, Mages, Grey Wardens, you know, the game? I don't need to know about real world problems. A fact that seems to be a huge gaping maw these morons can't seem to understand. Most people are playing games to escape from this world. They want a moment of peace where they can immerse themselves in a world away from the literal horrors of life. Why can't you get this through your thick skulls?
A hobby. Noun. An activity done regularly in one's leisure time for pleasure.
Equally, pandering so hard to a tiny fraction of the audience puts the game under added scrutiny, as if any of the core elements aren't right, customers will rightly ask, if you had time to put all this pandering in, why didn't you fix these issues, or make this better? A possible reason, and an additional argument, is that the devs are panicking, and therefore doing anything to try and appeal to everyone possible, via the easiest, quickest changes. Like, was it a coincidence Starfield having those stupid pronouns options that are basically not used at all in the game, and then the game being so underwhelming? Kind of makes me think they did that just to try and virtue signal and deflect from what they knew was a subpar game. And it's the same thing here. Adding these scars, where unless you're going to run around the game naked, there's literally zero point of, as you'll never see them. And this is before we even consider the setting and the existence of magic, etc, etc. I mean, this video is not going to do the job, but hey, I'm grifting. Well, as they say, it's your funeral. Even before seeing any of this, if you'd said to me BioWare was capable of making a good game, I'd have laughed. However, with what we have seen so far, this game is 100% DOA. And I'd be willing to bet that this may well be the game that will finally take down BioWare once and for all. Time will tell, but in my opinion, you are literally crazy if you pre-order this game. BioWare do not deserve the benefit of the doubt. I mean, is there even any doubt left at this point? I paid £90 or whatever it was for the special DLC BS edition of Anthem, and battered for the game hard. Yeah, I'm still bitter. But seriously, BioWare is gone. And this is just like double tapping a dead corpse. RIP BioWare. Good luck with Veilguard, I mean Veilguard. You're gonna need it, as the omens are seriously bad. And that, as they say, is that. And as always, f*** Erebus.